evening, Zambia. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, Mwewaletamba. Obviously, like I made a post indicating that I'll be having this live discussion, and I invited the Coppola pastor to join us for this conversation, so we can have a more interactive session. After 30 minutes of our discussion with the Coppola pastor, I'll share the link on my page, and then allow you people to participate and tell us whether you've been counted, what are the challenges, what are your suggestions, and what is it that you feel should be done. So first of all, to begin with, national census is happening now. The Zambia Statistics Agency has sent their enumerators that are going door to door and establishment by establishment, counting people. They are counting people and they are asking specific questions. Some of them are economical questions, some of them are social, and all of that. So I want to take this evening to discuss on the importance of census, of the national census. Many of you that are older than probably 15 years now would, by 20, older like 20 years by now, will have experienced this census already or before. And so many of our young people have not experienced census, so they don't even have an understanding of what this census is. So national census as it is now is an exercise where the government, through the statistics agency, goes out to count people. The statistics office sends people to go and count people within the borders of Zambia. This is a critical exercise for managers. Okay. So this census is very critical for national development. And I'll shed more light on why it is very important for us to be counted and for all of us to be cooperative and contribute and make this job of these people that are counting us very easy. So I start from why census is important for the country. Many of us do realize that the government has a duty and responsibility to serve we the people. The government has to build hospitals, the government has to build schools, the government has to build roads, the government has to distribute water, the government has to create jobs, the government has to give loans, the government has to do so many of these things. For the government to effectively deliver on their mandate, for you and me to experience development that is effective, for public service delivery to be improved, to be better, the government needs to know, the government needs to understand how many people do we have? How many people do we have in this country? How many of these are young people? How many of these are older people? How many of these are female? How many of these are male? How many of these have jobs? How many of these have no jobs? How many of these are in school? How many of these are not in school? How many of these are doing businesses? How many of these are just running around looking for what to do? The government needs to understand how many of these people own houses. How many of these people are renting houses? How many of these people are looking for houses? This is very helpful for the government because the government has a responsibility to provide water. For the government to know where there is no water or where to take this water as a development, they need to know where there is no water. For government to know that they need to build a clinic somewhere, the government needs to know how many people are in this particular community, how many people are working, how many people, what is in this particular community. The enumerators will ask you questions about your work, your job, probably even about how much you pay, because they want this information is critical for government planning. So it is very important that we cooperate and help and make this exercise as easy as possible for the people that have been given the jobs and the responsibility to count all of us. Some questions may not make sense, some questions may sound stupid, but this exercise is very, very important. Copala Pastor,
Yeah,
managers,
cannabis.
mwawomba febwin.
Bueno shani uko.
I'm quite. So I wanted to I invited you to be on this discussion because I want to first of all know and hear from you. Uh, when did you know that census is happening now? There is this exercise of counting people happening now in this country.
Basically, I think the very time it was starting, because obviously you would have people asking you for jobs like, oh, simu Verako when it's starting so we can go and work there. So I
Mm,
got wind of it, and that's how I got to know about the program that we have in the country. And like you've rightly highlighted, this is a very important operation that must be supported by every well-meaning Zambian, because though yeah, there will be some challenges which have been there even in the past, which we'll be able to talk about maybe later on in the show. But I got to know about it, I think, in the very time when it was just starting.
mm.
Yeah.
Have you been counted? Have you been counted yet?
No, not yet, because maybe because I shifted. Where I was
Yes. So this is that's one part of one critical component of what the census would also want to capture.
exactly.
The census would want to also the people that are picking numbers. I mean, counting would want to understand how are people moving. Are people moving from the villages to the cities like Lusaka,
Exactly.
Copper Belt,
Exactly.
or are people migrating from the Copper Belt to the village? If so,
Mm.
why are they migrating? So these
Right.
conversations are very critical because it helps the government to plan. It helps get the government to project. If, for
Exactly.
example, so today we keep saying that we are 18 million people.
Mm.
We are more than 18 million people. When the
Definitely.
government goes to make a budget, yeah, the government is projecting 18 million people.
18
So
million. Yeah.
meaning that, yes. So if we do not have an accurate number, obviously we can't be accurate like exactly, but something that is closer to reality, the possibilities that we will underplan are very high.
Exactly.
Obviously, managers, mwalikwatapo mapanga mabudget pangandete.
Too much.
So
Too
nga
much.
mulefu okushita amabanzi ya lunch nangu ni breakfast. Tari first kuishi bani mana ni abalirya ni banga ibasha maybe tupusheni mulira process ya budgeting ija. Where does it start?
So budgeting on a personal level, it starts even on a family level. It has to start with the number of people you are going to be catering
Mm,
for. That's the reason why I'll divert it a little to talk about family planning.
yes,
Why
yes,
there is
yes.
family planning? It's because you are trying to really put in effect and in consideration of how many people you are going to be responsible for, what costs come with each individual, and how you can be, if you are a father, how you can be an effective father in that family. So on a family level, you find that when you are budgeting or even planning every month, you look
Yeah.
at your costs vis-a-vis what's this, the income. So now you are able to
Mm,
look at and say, okay, fine, if we've got 3 kids, how do we make sure that we provide a very comfortable living for these guys, a roof over their heads, and also be able to feed them from 1 up to 30, so that from one paycheck to another paycheck. So there has to be that
mm,
deliberate plan where you know exactly to say, these are people that are under my roof, and I should be able to look after them this way.
To
Which
provide
I
for them.
feel
That's very good.
is the same thing with the government. It's quite difficult for them to just ascertain the what's the number of people in the country by just
Mm.
maybe the census that happened 10 years ago. We are not
Yes.
18 million people. We are more than that.
Yes.
And every time we are planning for 18 million Zambians, we are actually under planning, and
Yeah.
that will be seen in the
I think the signal network is very weak, managers.
alleged based on.
I think I
I think
lost
it's your
you. I
your
lost
network.
you.
Mine is very good actually.
Serious?
Can you hear me?
I'm done. Okay, so I assume that mine is weaker than yours. But what you're saying is, so the budgeting part is a critical part in, first of all, in delivering development to the country and social services and all of that. But also one component that we also would like to discuss also
Exactly.
vastly and also bring to the attention of the people is the projection. So for example, last time we had census in Zambia was in 2010. We were supposed to have it last year, we didn't, and we're having it now. So this census will also help the planning team or the planning government, or if the government is planning, to see what is the growth rate. How are we growing in numbers as a people? So meaning that, for example, if the government was to make a projection to say by next year, since next year there won't be census, how do we know how many people will be? So the government to get the data that is being collected now, they will get this data and estimate to say, since over 10 years, this is how we were growing the numbers or multiplying. So we can assume that in 5 years or 10 years from now, we will be this much. So it is going to be very easy for planning. So ladies and gentlemen, this census, census ishire, tebuloshi,
Oh yeah.
te spying, tema politics, awe. Census ishire, yakwevati government irefaya ishibe tuli banga muno mukyalo so that nga bamba okwakanya obwali bamba okwakanya obunga baishi batuuku kuli abantu abaliso uku kuli abaliso amalofwa tukwete abali 6 abakwete enchito tukwete abaliso abakote tukwete abaliso abakote bakulafwa ikefi nefi nefi kwalafwa ikefi nefi nefi. So census is very very important. Bali abaleyisa balyanangu babipe pamenso inchito balebomba ituntulu nga bayisa mukumipenda bamipusha amakwesheni yambi amakwesheni tiyami sekesha yambi tiyami kalifya yeri amakwesheni abapangire teyabo babatumine because that information, the response you give to these questions that these enumerators are asking is critical to the planning of this country, to the planning of the development of this country. So when these people come to your houses, they are not coming because they are politicians. They are not politicians. This is not a political program. It is a national program. So when they come to ask you for information, when they come to ask you questions,
Program,
please,
exactly.
please cooperate. Give them as much answers as possible. Make their jobs
Managers,
easier.
I think
Yes, managers.
they are
Managers, the network here.
like views.
Mm. So I think the corporate pastors
Every
network is
time you're counting,
not
they
kind.
feel like no, David was denied that not count.
TN managers namyumfa mwabwera landeni ile mfuka with information here. Tell us from the biblical point of view. Tell us that census is biblical.
That belief. Yeah. From the but there are those that they should become in the Bible people. Some people may no he's sinning against God. But we need to realize poverty. This is the no. It has nothing to do with politics. Nothing to do with any. There is no sick anywhere. That's a concept that has really been making of us thinking in 6-6 maybe no. There is nobody who is trying to do that. You find that religiously we're struggling with this. People will come and say no. This people Christians will say it's 6-6. Now start coming count census. It's 6-6. No. When that time comes, there is nobody who's going to be hiding. It's going to be in plain sight, and everybody happens. So I to someone who is watching this, to everybody that is in this census, and just be counted. We make sure that they are counted, so that we can even move forward and stuff.
Yes. So census is biblical. Census easy for planning. So again, I'll get back to the importance of census. So as a country, we can be saying we have resources. For us to appreciate the value of the resources, the minerals that we have, the taxes that are collected, for us to appreciate the value of these resources that we have, we need to understand the benefits. How many of these people are benefiting? For us to say ZRA is collecting enough taxes for us to progress, we need to understand how many people are dependent on this same tax. How many people are qualified for jobs but tabale bomba? How many people are working and are paying taxes? How many people are working and they're getting lesser, getting how much? All this information is critical. So, you people that are being counted, all of us are being counted, but you that are being followed, muma company, muma shop, muma shanshanyuko. If you refuse to be counted, if you refuse to be attended to, the victim, the loser, is going to be you and me. How will you be a loser? You'll be a loser because your reality, your community, your concerns, your reality in general will not be taken care of. For example, ngawikala kukapoto government ishi batikowa abantu abali 10 elo kanshi mwabako 50 government ngeyapanga tilefu okupanga kliniki bakabalira kulioko bayishi banamba abengi so ipo mweba kukapoto nga mwakano okumipenda ninshi mwashalila ukushalila kwendwa kula pilibula kwako bati para balefu okubika ekipatala ekikulu bakatwala okuli abantu abengi kulioko mwakeni okumipenda mukapokerera ka kliniki akanono akakweba ati dokita ngakola iwindo lya isuka MKI managers.
No, I'm just agreeing with what you are saying. Especially if you talk about so to adequate first hand. I nyama fears ya census na if you alikenepo.
Twale tino kupenda ka?
Balepo kumipenda vile no. Watu bale tino kupenda. No, not but this is enough to read it, and those are founded theories, quite ama theories ayengekho, but like for example kula but maybe a family is coming from what's this Islamic background. Kula ba challenge lako but they don't believe that abana kashi they should be seen by any man. So ngamwatumako abaume mukupenda kulya ama Muslims and then kulya abana kashi they will not allow them. So it will be very challenging in that case to have all those. But all those beliefs, I don't know managers how you look at that. For example, there is an Islamic family that believes that umwana kashitafunikira. Kuma mama enumerators down.
Yes. Ndeumfa managers.
Can you hear?
Ndeumfa I'm listening, I can hear you.
Yes.
Kosenfe mkurande tsungu ndeumfa mkwa.
I'm saying I don't know what.
I do agree with you.
Maybe to family Muslims and then they believe or don't believe.
The other concern that I got whilst I was talking to people is that the enumerators are having problems to go to communities where they, for example, you get somebody from the Copper Belt and then you send them to a place like Shangombo, and then they can't speak closely. They can't speak the language that is spoken by the local people there. Then this particular individual just goes with the tablets and the reflector na peni nalo ngana frutikana ya kunwanga mfo insada. They are struggling to communicate and engage with the local people. That's one of the challenges that I got. So managers, maybe at this point, let me share the link in our in the comment section, so we can hear the experiences of those that have been counted, and those that are hesitant to commit, those that are hesitant to cooperate with the enumerators. At the end of the day, if we fail to make this a success, the biggest losers are us, the people. We have to be counted. We have to be counted. This is a conversation that is beyond politics. This is a conversation that is beyond any religious inclination or direction and whatsoever. This is about you and I planning together. Imwena inetfetu aisa pamofo pakwaka no bunga bwino pakwaka na makole bwino. We need to have an idea. Niba nani abali pano. For the government to make a budget that is effective, for the government to make a budget that is effective and responsive to the issues of the people, the government will need to have the data. For example, we are constantly reminded that there were 30,000 people that were employed as, is it teachers or health workers? How do we appreciate the value of this number if we do not understand the total number of the people in the country? Quite a managers where you go in a restaurant and then they ask you what's the order coffee and then they ask you how many spoons of sugar do you want to put in your coffee? Without knowing the size of the cup, wapunda at 3. Teaspoon and then you see the chikapu. Chikapu kanshi ni chindobiri. Chikapu which could such that even the 3 spoons of sugar that you said become very inconsequential to the tea, the taste of the tea that you want. So for you to value the number that has been, let's say, employed or what, you need to first of all appreciate the overall picture. I'm going to invite Chelston. I don't know Chelston is, but Chelston, how are you, boss?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Very fine. Have you been counted yet?
Yes.
Okay, good. Tell us about the experience and what your encouragement, what your encouragement is to the people that are refusing to be counted and those that don't even know that there is counting happening.
Hello, come in. So, as what I experienced from the counting, all right, the actually came yesterday.
Mm.
This activity was done yesterday. Quite all right. There is a lot of questions,
Yes.
as you have already said earlier. But
Mm.
it's a very something interesting what you said. I would love to encourage those people who are refusing. There is no need of refusing. It's beyond the politics.
Yes.
We are benefiting for ourselves and for our future.
Mm. Yes.
Yes, because I don't know my tomorrow. We don't know what will happen tomorrow.
Mm.
Yes, so I would love to encourage everyone who's watching this and whoever will hear about this topic,
Mm.
they have to come up.
So now say what you have
Have to
said in
come up.
your local language. I want you to say it in your local language. I want to hear how it sounds in local language.
Ndiri mutonga wadara.
Kamwamba basa, kamwamba. So I
Tiri
want you to
kamo
say, tell the people to make sure that they cooperate with these people that are counting us in Tonga. We want people that are listening to you to know that this is normal. This should be. This is for our benefit. I want my relatives in Wengwa to understand that this is not satanism or political issue. Let's speak to them, encourage them in Tonga.
eno ndiratarikira nditaikire kudhundu mwezi kuya kwachikantakosikawo karomo manendiso avo kusina zongwe novana southern province ndamuyambira kuti ecensus vantu ava totavakatazi atuvatambureka tukavo tumborembo vavora ichi chigwasi andiswe ari mujira huna achisi chonsembo chivede otegwa chisi na hurumende yapanga budget mburimbo turindira budget ya 2023 jehova chintu chovaova hurumende kuti inoyihive kuti ino budget yesi iri kuti ivantu vari kuti mbotujisi
twalumba basa
twarumba kapati sure
all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mr. Deep Pombo, boss, how are you?
Hello, boss. How are you? But I cannot see my. Can you see me yourselves?
Yes, we can see you. We can see you.
Oh, that's wonderful. I cannot see myself. It's crazy.
Okay, so now what we're doing is we want to first of all encourage people to make sure that they get counted, and also that they should cooperate with the officials that are going door to door counting the people. But also, if you have been counted, we want to hear your experience. If you've not been counted, we want you to make a commitment that you be counted, but also to encourage us. Tell us, why is it important that we need to be counted?
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me. And I think the census is fundamental for any country. Gentlemen, I'm calling you from, I'm from the Copper Belt, I'm from Kitwe in Ndeke, but I am staying in Italy at the moment. I'm in Italy, but I'm conversating with my friends and families in Ndeke. I'm advising them also to get counted because it's fundamental, it's very important. I allow myself to contribute so that I can also emphasize the importance of the census. Gentlemen, if I can allow me to quote some of the Pan-Africanists who have been saying, in Africa, there is no need for us to have passport, we can move around Africa, it's okay. And here I am in Europe, everyone has passports to go everywhere, even if it is called European Union. So what is fundamental for them? It's the identity. Mr. Pilato, for us in European Union, even in the driving license, it's enough for the police. If they arrest me in Germany, if they stop me in Germany or they stop me in Austria, they stop me in France, just by looking at my driving license, they can identify who I am, if I have criminal cases. So the document itself, it guarantees to stipulate or to disclose my identity. So it's important in Zambia that our friends and our brothers and sisters, they get counted. Not only the Zambian residents, I think, Mr. Pilato, I would even extend to count even the foreigners themselves. The problem we are encountering in South Africa, gentlemen, it's not an easy thing. The South African people, some of them, they are saying, we don't know who we have in our country. We are not against foreigners coming to South Africa because we have also Zambians in South Africa. What are the South African black people saying? They are saying, some of these friends who have come in South Africa, we don't know them. We have no census of these gentlemen, and it creates difficult and a really serious problem. So I support the census. If people are going to be difficult, Mr. Pilato, here, what they do, when they go for the second part to go and censor those houses where they did not find the residents, or the houses where the people, they refused to be counted, what they do here in Europe when they are doing census, they go for the second time in the night at 03 hours. 03 hours in the night with police. This time they come with police. They wake up everyone who is sleeping in the house and they take note of whoever sleeps in that house under the police forces. So it's not an optional, gentlemen. Let's communicate this information. Brothers and sisters, namuchibe mbandandeko. Te option mwe bantu alachikankala pantu ngatuishi vino wachilanda Pilato na ukwata chikapu chikala ambao yabika mukashuga kama mwe bantu alanishture ichusha nifwewo kanshi ukuishi befo twa Muzambia tuli banga na ama foreigners bene ba China ama Chinese in their compound here at Chinatown. How many Chinese stay in Chinatown? Thank you very much. This is important. You have my support.
Thank you very much, Mr. Povo. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Corporal Pastor, any reactions to that? I have people in the waiting room, so we move from there. I note Chanoda Ngwira, I'll be coming to you just after getting a reaction from the Corporal Pastor. The Corporal Pastor, any comments, any additional thoughts? Okay, let me go to
I think like he just highlighted about it's it's sad and whatnot. So we need to have some form. We need to they are living of order, So I really agree.
Managers, okay, let me get Mr. Chanoda Ngwira. How are you, sir?
Pilato, how are you?
Very fine, very fine, very fine, boss. Have you been counted
Good
yet?
No, not yet. in all my homes, no one has come.
You know your homes. This is what we are talking about.
It's just a joke anyway. They have not yet come home.
Well, we know you chaps from Eastern Province are a problem. We know you very well. So now,
No,
so
we take
tell
after you.
no. Okay, so Mr. Nguira, tell us, probably you might want to speak to the people on why census is critical, especially that you people with these names, you are known for politics. What is your conversation? What's your encouragement regarding census now that is happening?
Yeah, I think demography is very important when it comes to any serious nation. National planning and also budgeting cannot happen without knowing the people that are in the country. And I think this is the reason why I want to commend, I think, the New Dawn government. I rarely commend the UPND government, but on this one, I must say that I'm very impressed because they've at least achieved something that has to border on national interest. So the Minister of Finance and National Planning cannot plan anything without having, a tentative, should I say, number of people that this country, carries. So it is my prayer that even as politicians, we do encourage our members in these clubs, associations, and all that to get counted, because believe you me, it is a very great development, and we need this. And yes, I want to repeat this, Bali, I'm impressed with you on the issue of bringing about census, because that's very important. I think also to us politicians, it is also very important because we are able to know through the, the office of the, Central Statistics, for us to know how many people are in Chasefu. What is my target group? Where do I concentrate in terms of numbers and all that? So I think it is very important. And also, I think religious leaders, it also helps. You people that I know are into civil society, like yourself, Mboya, I think you need numbers to know. For instance, if you want to sensitize people on the, say, gender-based violence, who is your target group? And if that target group is known, how many are they? Which area is, of interest in terms of population? So I want to encourage everyone as I leave that please, this is not a partisan thing. This is not something to do with UPND. It's nothing to do with PF. It has nothing to do with President Hakainde Hichilema or whoever. This is our own baby that we need to, give milk. We need to, feed so that it becomes a success. We need this, and I want to encourage everyone out there. But my worry also is issues of, I think someone raised an issue of foreigners. Yes, I think especially Makalingalinga, I live in PHI, but you'd find that the moment I leave home, all the shops, almost all the shops, for Rwandese people and all that. I don't know how the Central Statistics is going to handle that, because even the Chinese now, they are like our brothers. I remember, Pilato, on a lighter note, you called me that you are now dating a Chinese woman, because there are a lot of them. Yeah, so I don't know. I think government needs to I think government needs to, make sure that that matter is really handled. Otherwise, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I want to encourage you, Pilato. Yes, I know that sometimes on social media we differ in opinion, but you are an asset of this nation. I like your stance, but continue, especially, being a sensitizer on a lot of these matters that go beyond partisan politics.
Thank you very much, Mbuya. Thank you very much. So, Manjapa, we need to go to. I wanted to mention it. That one where you exchange things. What's that one? Chidera what? What's that one? That one. Chidera something. That one. I'm coming.
Which one?
Was that the Chidera something?
Chidera, no. No. You are welcome. You are welcome. Actually, I can initiate you. I can initiate you into that.
Okay. Okay, Mbuya, but.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, so the conversation is loud and clear. Census is everybody's project. It's your project, it's my project. Imwe kumunzi uko. I forgot to ask this guy to comment, to talk in his language. We want to get as many people to be counted, but also to be cooperative. Ngabaisa mkumipenda. Tekwe bati baisa mkumifoleshana nguda awe te mpia bamiletera. Baisa mukumipenda so that next time bakola panga budget bakamipendereko bakeshibateko mwaba. Bona kweti.
Ensha Pirato.
Ensha.
How are
Remove the
you?
volume.
It has been
Remove
long.
the volume. Why are you doing?
Pardon?
They are getting very
hostile feedback.
Maybe it's because of the noise that is in the background.
Or you are using two
devices.
No, just one.
Okay. Have you been counted?
No. Still waiting for them.
Okay, so I want you to make a commitment that you counted. Tell us why you are in Mungu, counted, because you are in Mungu, I know. Then we have a problem. If you are not counted in Mungu, then we have a problem. So I want you to tell us that you tell us why you think you need to be counted. And I want you to tell us why you think you need to be counted.
I beg your pardon, I didn't get your question clearly.
No, so I'm saying, since you have not been, you are making a commitment to this nation that you will make sure that you are counted. You cooperate with the enumerators, and I want you also to encourage people in your community and listen to you. When these people approach you for census, be cooperative, because at the end of the day, our responsibility to contribute, to play a part in making sure that you for census, enough information because at the end of the day, and program our responsibility to contribute, to play a part in making sure that there is enough tools and information for government to plan and program our economy and also our progress as a country.
We'll do that. First, I'm in Shango Mbonoti Mongo.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Okay.
Are you getting me?
Yes, I'm getting you. I would like you to encourage.
Yes, I'm getting you. I would like you to encourage them using the local language there, asking them that census is your responsibility, and I want to speak to them in Lodi or in a language that they speak in that particular region, so that they can easily understand.
Yeah, and we'll do exactly that. Just that, you know, like some places, the way they are treated, they're not treated good. I don't know whether maybe the government didn't do a proper sensitization in other places. So that's the only thing that is worrying me.
Okay, Mr. Nakweti.
Thank you very much
for joining in, and we'll make sure
I hold you accountable. I have your number.
I'll make sure that I check on you when you have. Okay, it's gone. The Coppola Pasta. Everybody's running away from me. Okay, so I'm pasting the link on my Facebook again, and you get 3 more people to contribute, and then we'll start reading comments with the Coppola Pasta on what people are saying, on what you're posting on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, and then we'll share them with the wider public. Coppola Pasta, there is a concern that the churches are very hesitant to open up to cooperate with the enumerators regarding census. What's the biblical perspective to a census? Was census in the Bible? Is census in the Bible?
Actually, census is in the Bible. So you find the reason why Jesus was born in a manger, it was because Joseph and Mary were moved from where they were back to their original place where they were born to go and be counted. That is the reason why they have where to stay. And they ended up having Jesus born in the manger. So the reason why Jesus was because they are going for a so the census is
Wow. So what the Kopala pastor is saying that Jesus was born in the manger because Mary and Joseph were moving to be counted. They were moving to a place or to their town where census was happening. So mwevale tuishika census yava muchipingo vashima pepo vatuchita guide bwino bwino. Census eyo Joseph na Mary vakonkele, and Mary at the time was pregnant. She still had to walk, travel, just to make sure that they were counted. So census is a very critical part of development in a country for management, for planning, for distribution of resources. Like I said, if the government does not know the number of its people, it is difficult for us to even know where to take what. It is difficult for the government to say, tizamanga school uku. If that school, if the government does not know how many people are there, how many school-going children are there, for government to prioritize this distribution of resources, it has to know, nikuti kuli bantu, oh kuli bangati uku, oh since there are people, there are 10 people this side and we have 15 people this side, we will start with where there are many people and then follow with the chat. Things like that. So census is a very critical part of our development and planning. Managers, anything you'd like to add? Hopefully internet won't let you down before I can start reading comments and reactions from our viewers just now. Managers, mwaleka fe nokumfika nombafe. Elo mwalekerera fe nokumfika fe nombafe. Mwaleka okumfika nombaye. Okay, so as we're waiting for Corporal Pastor to connect, I'll go through some of the comments that have come through. From those that have been counted and those that are yet to be counted, we hear what people are saying. So this is Charlie Planter. It says census helps government to make budgets. Yes, the census feeds into the budget. The government has to know how many people do we have, how many people are in employment, how many are not employed, how many people are going to school. If we have to build schools, how many schools are we going to build? If we want to build roads, where does this road move from where to whatever? So it is a very critical part of development. I have Mr. Emmanuel Muke. Mr. Emmanuel Muke, I don't know if your network is as strong as my button on my jacket. Otherwise, I've given you an opportunity to speak. We want to see the next contribution. We want to hear what. So we have noted people are saying it's a good program. Good evening, Pirato. Thanks for this program, bro. Thank you very much also. But most importantly, we want to hear if you've been counted. If you've not been counted, we want to know I want to hear you making a commitment that you'll be. This is Remy Mshota. I have never talked to you on a personal level, but I have multitude of issues to bring to your table and questions as well. I don't have a table. You might as well come with your own table so we can use your table, Mr. Remy. But I would be happy to have a chat with you. We have Ibrahim Mwamba, Malema, uyo muponda wandu uyo, mufireni. This one says, sensitizers, we gave wrong information because bali to chinga. Oh, adwari bachinga, so they gave wrong information. So the right information is that census is very much key in planning for our development. So, census ile HTK to apapa making sure ba mipenda nama question wale mipusha yambia kula sekesha yambia kula mfishensoni yambia kula kalifia kufia sukafie. And one thing that you also need to mention is that these people that have been given the responsibility to handle this information have required by the law to make sure that they don't share information with anyone. So ngabami pusha mwaba pera information ili critical mwaishi, but you don't want anybody to know. They are required by law not to share that information with a third person. That information is basically to feed in the government planning departments so that they know exactly what is where and what is happening where, who is doing what. So be free to share as much information as possible. And that information that you give to these enumerators is strictly confidential. They will not share with anyone. Someone I know would have demanded for a third just for this broadcast. Oh, okay. Okay, so we go. Following you from Solwezi Mabanga. Solwezi Mabanga. Ndefo kwa mtandara ku Solwezi huko. Nchitenko invite wa Solwezi. Chilishani, mwele mweko obuchi. This one says, nice one, Mr. Pilato. Otherwise, it has not been easy for us, the enumerators. We are facing a lot of challenges in the field. If this exercise is difficult for the enumerators, it will affect the data that will be collected. If we fail to tell these enumerators the truth, if we fail to respond and cooperate, it will misinform the position that government will be making until after 10 years. That is why it is critical. If there is a failure to capture the actual information, correct data now, if there is a failure to collect accurate data today or during this period, it means that as a country we will survive and work with false data until 2012, 2022, 2032. From now going forward, it means that government and governments that will be coming will be working on assumptions and data that is wrong, that is not accurate. I gave an example. We had the Zambian government employ 30,000 teachers and 11,000 or 30,000 workers and 11,000 teachers. So that is a very big number. But for us to appreciate this number, we need also to know how many exactly are in this particular country or constituency. How many people are going to be saved by these teachers and nurses and doctors that have been employed. It helps in planning. So the government will know that, actually, number to apangile, teachers to English, actually was not enough, or it was more than enough. But for them to know all of that, they will need to have the data. That information is what these enumerators are collecting. If government has to build more schools, they need information to know. If the government has to buy medicine for the country tomorrow, they need to know how many people do we have. And this census should happen whether you are Zambian or not Zambian, but as long as you are in this country, you'll be counted. Probably apart from ambassadors and these people that are non-Zambians and are working in the embassies. Apart from those, everyone in this country will be counted. Whether some, I know, not some people are saying we have a lot of foreigners in this country. Yes, we do, just like we have more Zambians in other countries. But all of these will be taken note of. They will be counted, and the government will know how many people we have in this country, how many of these are from which country, how many of these are from which country. It's critical, it's essential for planning and delivering development. Inviting Mr. Claudia Musoma. Mr. Claudia Musoma, we want to hear your experience. Have you been counted yet? Musoma, have you been counted yet? I can't hear you.
I don't know if it is net.
I think it's your headphones or microphone. I think the network is fine.
I can hear you, but the pictures can't move. Let me try to get back again.
Okay, sure. Okay, thanks. Snatcher Petty Malama says, it's not all that, but these people who are counting, they are too much playful. Landen for both. But you need to help us also understand how playful are they. What does that mean? Like playful, what does that mean? Help us understand, Malama. We want to understand what that means and see how that can be addressed. We want to highlight the challenges that you're facing as enumerators. Yes, by enumerator. What are the challenges that you are facing? What are the challenges that you are facing? We want to hear you. We want to communicate that and see how the community or the people that you're working with can be helpful. Mr. Claudia, welcome back.
What's great? I'm
Laka mwenfu.
Da, sawa mechensara nefko if about to kuingi.
If ya shala ko fini kuku ba fe jento mukufenya timwa timule
Yeah,
fenya mwasanga mwaifubu linkanda.
Nefimfura yali ya trist tware samba kwemfura nga yaturoka twari yako na mango.
Have you been counted yet? Naba mpenda kali?
I'm sure bali mpenda. Tabara pita bat bali mpenda.
Tabara pita bat bali.
But I'm sure somewhere we are counted.
Ndikwiza okomulete ebere ndikwiza okomuli okotumune ngana akotabara pita tumfevo chiti.
Nawe ina ndi pakapiri mdara. Mutima waba pakapiri.
Pakapiri. Awo pakapiri epo.
Nangu mwalisha ntafe murusaka tamurefana imo usatandara kukapiri katuishi. Mwakwata kama programu kukapiri.
Na disaisa pakapiri apo vanisha pai ya fake so tatino.
Mwali mbarara mkati.
Kwali ba meet pai mukati muri nshonkonono.
Yeah, we ekushwa trima entrepreneurs trefwa kwa fema material.
Okay, so background, another views here on census and obviously your commitment that you make sure that Bami Pendana.
Yeah, a quick one so that in between star out and the join. Census is very important because it helps the government also to plan for the future. They also have to know the number of death rate. So some questions if they ask them if they have relatives that have departed. The government also have to know the number of death rate very high and very low. And then death rate na ikula na ipona pancho. Yeah, so they should also to be able to estimate to say okay, opotka kwatra next census. Frame kwatra population ikakura by this number. Because in Gamarosha, especially country, so seems I think even infrastructure wise, that what plan we not paring rock tom for our winch, so next time population in Gayakura, paring rock was so register paka venganda.
Because that happened, that's why you touch the plan, we not ever fin.
And then to are monakwas that wakafure. So ifintu kwale wafia pamwashanta parasti kwamba nokushita load washita omusebo washitanika project okenshirako omusebo apande pitapo because abariko kuntanshi barepera barefu apofe bamona pwengani. But now the population is growing. Abantu balingire bafaya pa kupita turefo ya mensha ya clean abantu barefo take sabi. So the government should look into that. Should the government come up with flats so that abantu bakwata rented flats? Should the government start selling approach pamuru wangande inankwe, so on and so on? The government should also start planning for car parks, so on and so on. So bambi abantu nga babe proke inganda yenu nangomra songera. They might think it's a irrelevant question, but the government wants to know how many are renting and how many are landlords, how many are owning a house, so on and so forth. But I think one thing that the government did not put in a lot of resources, it's the issue of sensitization.
Sensitization,
yeah. But again, I take note to say this census has delayed. It was supposed to be last year, and now it is this year. So census, I think, sensitization yali chero wako. So mumushi bambiku mwana kwa ati wa politician babwera futi.
What ma campaign ya isate?
What ma campaign progressive idea ya shara barefu ayechitenge no bunga tamletere chitenge no bunga because tamubebere. Nangu baremna kwa kuko kwa voters card. So I think it's not too late. The government can still put in some little coins or bazanis move around, especially for mumishi, so that they do the sensitization.
Thank you, Claudia.
An estimated number.
Imagine but we're just failing to get the actual date. Thank you very much, Mr. Claudia. I'll ask Mr. Shadrach. Mr. Shadrach, we want to hear your thoughts. Have you been counted yet?
Not really. I'm suspecting that maybe I was supposed to be counted today, partly because today I was at home and I decided to clean my dogs. So some gentleman with a reflector entered without knocking, and because my dogs are quite big, so it was almost beaten. That's how we quickly went out. So I went back to the gate to follow him up. He was miles away running. So I was suspecting it could be one of the sensors. This is part of the reason why I'm here, just also advise those who are counting that please, if you knock on the gate, you hear it's quiet, it's best maybe if they can just labeling the gate. If nobody has come out to know that we've not counted this house, I don't know if they are doing such kind of thing. And like going inside, you may be beaten by dogs. And also maybe us who have dogs, the dog owners, maybe also we can try and maybe just try and lock up our dogs. Usually my dogs are locked, and the case happened because I was home. I wanted to clean them up today, and that's when this instance happened. So I just feel that maybe those who have dogs can also do the same and just lock them up if they're going out, just in case these people are not very much patient accounting, and then they go through, they may be attacked by dogs.
That's very, very important. That's very, very important. So you people that are going in people's houses, please be mindful that some people have dogs, some people have security, high security programs happening. So please be mindful that you need to, if you cannot be asked to enter, please just leave a mark somewhere, just to remind you that you've not counted that particular household. Otherwise, that is very critical. Thank you very much. I do speak any Zambian language apart from English.
Yes, I speak about 8 languages. I speak Kaonde, I speak Tonga, I speak Lozi, I speak Mambwe, Bemba. I speak about 8 sign language.
I want you to speak to our people in Lozi and Kaonde, telling them that census is a very necessary exercise that they should participate in, and that the people that are going door to door asking them for information are actually doing it for the purposes of planning for running this country. In Lozi and Kaonde.
In Lozi and Kaonde.
Yes, please.
Lozi and Kaonde, I think those people are very much sensitized. Why don't we tell them I want to speak my original language, like Mambwe, because I'm Mambwe.
Okay, speak this man.
Yes, so moya mambo yense konse kumilenga kuta kwikasepanga ndaizi ya mipende antu yako mbishi tuisuma sana chino yakulonda ya government kuti swensinga yatupenda yamamanya kuti yana yakulonda ishi yaliyanga. What I'm saying is that for those of us who are in our homes, we can be counted by the government so that they can also know also for part of our job market to know how many people need to be employed. But because nowadays when you say the ratio of graduates is maybe to 10 million against, I think the statistics was also nice one I saw recently. We don't know how many people are not employed. We don't know how many jobs are needed. We don't know how many people have died. We don't know how many vacancies are available. So I think it would be nice for such. So moya mambo mwense kumilenga kuti ikalipa manganda izi ya mipende ngayamipusha ma-questions kwasuka seningo kushupa na admin akuta census here. So what I'm saying that when they ask you questions, don't think they just want to know your privacy. So get to tell them what they need to know. Tell them if you're in employment. Tell them if you're a farmer. So that's important information for you to know.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sadrick. Thank you very much, Mr. Sadrick. Let me speak to Nkoma and then Corporal Pastor will close the move on.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Corporal Pastor, I think the network is strong and better now. You look comfortable. I can't hear you still. Yo, managers. Okay, let me get to Mary Nkoma, and then Corporal Pastor will join us. Mary Nkoma, Miss Mary Nkoma, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
Very fine. Have you been counted, Nkoma?
No, not yet. I have not been counted.
Where are you?
Kuchongwe.
Pachongwe vyapa?
Pamene pachongwe apa boss.
Wazamipenda. So tell us, how you make commitment? We want to hear you.
Okay, just looking at the topic, why is national census important for development? We are now doing with decentralization. So as everything is coming down to the district, I feel it is very important for everyone to be counted for national development. And then development starts from districts. If districts are developed, it means that even the nation is developed. So census will help us to know how many people are in the district and what is it that is needed most for the government in order to carry out development. I'll give an example where the issue of education. It is very important to know because you'll be able to do the equality and the equity. It's also important in terms of development. We can say let's build maybe 10 schools in all districts. It will be unfair for other districts which have more population to build 10 schools when the other district only needs maybe 5 schools. But because we did not carry out the census to determine the number of people in that district, we might procure medicine. We might build schools more than they're supposed to be, or we might build less than, or we might procure medication which are not enough for the people in that district. So national census will determine how much is needed per district and how much is what is it that we need to do for the nation because of the number of people that we have in. When everyone is counted, we know how to share every resources that we have as a country.
Thank you very much, Mary Nkoma.
Yeah, that's
I'm very excited. Thank you.
Yeah, but you let them to count me. They bypassed me yesterday. I don't know where to find them.
No, don't worry. They'll find you. Never for them. They've heard you. I'm sure they are looking for you already.
They have to. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Corporal Pastor, can we hear you now?
I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you now. So let's look at what Mr. Nkoma Mambwe in closing is saying. Mr. Nkoma Mambwe is saying, let's be proactive next time. We can't be doing damage control upon. Next time, Zamstat should start this as a serious undertaking and implement sensitization at grassroots level on the importance of census. Otherwise, sensitizations are key to any success of a community program. We will reduce on the instances where people have different fears. We can't blame them, but to address their fears prior to the actual activity. Managers, I want you to respond to that and obviously share your thoughts on what has been shared by our viewers this evening.
I think what Mr. Nkoma is saying is quite important, and it's imperative that we deal with most of these, even what I call beliefs, beforehand,
Yes.
so that when people are going on the ground at grassroots level, they already the people are already acquainted with the information. It's like they already know that some people are going to come and so, but sometimes when people are just seen on the ground, and then TV, radio, there is no influencer that is really doing this message, taking it to them. We don't know what they are trying to do, or maybe they are counting us so that they can manipulate the next elections. That's how people think. So we really need to like he's saying, we shouldn't just frown on the fears of the people, but we must be able to address their fears and then see how we can help people. That's what that's very true.
Thank you very much. George Siwela says, so big man, if I may ask, if the government are interested in knowing the meals we have per day. Yes, the government wants to know. The government wants to know if there is poverty in this country, then we need to determine what is this poverty? What is it that qualifies us to be a poor country? If the World Bank says we can't qualify for the middle income country, what does that mean? What is the GDP per capita? If we can grow the GDP nationally, but if we cannot understand or determine or even tell how people are living at household level, it becomes useless. So this information is critical. The government needs to know how many people are only having one meal per day. If that is the dominant problem, that is the situation that we have, where we have people eating once a day, then it will inform the planning at government level. The government will have the responsibility now to make sure that those that are only having one meal a day will start projecting, or to say, okay, maybe by next year they should be having 2 meals. So it's also very much part of the information that should be very useful for national planning.
Exactly.
This is Muke. Good evening, Honorable. Oh, Power Honorable Panomama. It's very important to be counted because we as a country, we need to know how many people are alive and how many people have died, and we need to know how many people are born. I don't know, managers, if you heard what Mary also said. Mary said something very critical. She said, if the government was to say we are going to build 100 schools, the government may not know how many people we have. Therefore, sometimes they may build more schools than people. Sometimes they build fewer schools than people. But for them to prudently utilize the resources, they need to know if we have 10 people, we can only build 1 school. If we have 100 people, then we can build 2 schools. Things like that. Any reactions from your end? They need to know if we have 10 people, we can only build 1 school. If we have 100 people, then we can build 2 schools. Things like that. Any reactions from your end?
Which is very important, and we've been back and forth on the same point, managers.
Yeah.
We're saying you cannot start planning for people that you do not know. We need to know the number of people that are being planned for. He raised a very important point where he said, what if we are building schools for dead people?
Yes.
Imagine you build a school for maybe 20,000 people, and then yet 10,000 people are dead. You only have 7,000 people, or maybe 10,000 people are alive in that area. So,
exactly. So there is thanks, manager. In conclusion, I think we'll read this text coming from Abimbuye Chama Yamashinaya. Sema, I see you. So this one is saying, I was counted and the experience was good. My worry is that many people who are being counted should be told Okay, Nana Berenga again. My worry is people who are being counted told not to accept to be counted twice. Very, very important. Ngabamipenda umkumo. Please make sure that abamipenderepo again. Ngabamipende mkushitatu. Ni wrong information, ni wrong data. If we give wrong information, if we misinform the survey or the census, we will misinform ourselves for the next 10 years, which is very dangerous and costly for us. Managers, any concluding remarks? We close, then we can continue tomorrow. So we'll be back tomorrow, 19:30, and we'll share some more things that we would like to share, and just to make sure that we keep the conversation running as the census is happening. Any concluding remarks, managers?
Yeah. I think for me, what I really want to hinge so much on the religious beliefs. Is a 660. And number two, these are not politics. These are issues of national interest. It is for your own development. We need to support the government. We need to support this initiative and make sure that we are counted and give the actual information. No, pano twikalapo abantu 4 but twikalapo abantu 14. There is no shame. Just say if we bad if you to have 14 so that we get the actual information. It is very cardinal and important for us to have even like we need to plan with the actual numbers and not just planning by faith or by planning by we need to plan knowing the exact number of people that we have on the ground. So please ndetapiu kudi onse kaine ndi mubemba onse mubemba wale umfwa ukwe but please tupeni info bapeni abantu baleyisa mukumpenda bapeni actual information yako wati ala afurishe chalo nokumono kwa but there is development happening in our nation. Let's work with the government and work with the system.
Thank you very much. So the point there is that we need to cooperate. Let us help ourselves. Let us help the people that are coming to count us. They are there to do a very critical job that will influence how we develop this country. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our transmission this evening. We are back tomorrow, 19:30, and hopefully that you join in and share your thoughts. And we invite some more people to share their thoughts and experiences. Hopefully that you will be counted tomorrow, and we want to hear your experiences as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, managers. Have a great evening.